Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today, and welcome to St. Mary's. My name is Julie Knitter. I'm a parishioner here at St. Mary's. At this point, I'd like to introduce Irene Goodwin, our pastoral administrator, to lead us in opening prayer.
It's a reading from the book of Acts of the Apostles. When the day of Pentecost had come, they were all together in one place. And suddenly from heaven there came a sound like the rush of a violent wind, and it filled the entire house. The word of the Lord. Lord, some probably 8-10 years ago, we gathered in your presence, a group of strangers, wondering about our future, told that we had to do something to combine. We came up with a plan, and now we're moving into that plan. We thank you for the Spirit among us. We thank you for the Spirit gathered in our presence. We ask that you be with us and help us and guide us. Help us to discern what you wish for us in our lives as we look to be a group of people moving from maintenance to mission. We ask all of this in your name.
Thank you, Irene. And now I'd like to introduce our presenters today. Our technical advisor, Alana Schrader, right from St. Mary's, and our presenter, Joe Dombrowski from St. Vincent de Paul.
The origin of our committee for the Comfort Care Home came out of Five Saints West. Back in 1999, there were about 200 faith communities or so in the Diocese of Rochester. That's now down to about 120 or so, and they're divided up into 36 planning groups. Our particular planning group, Five Saints West, consists of St. Christopher's over in North Charlotte, St. Patrick, St. Columba down the road in Caledonia, St. Vincent's over in Churchville, and certainly this place. We have, as Five Saints West, a plan that was formulated and approved back in 2006, February, I believe, and there's copies of it laying around. There are certainly links to it on the diocesan website and then from every parish website. Our plan, and the essential point of our plan, is that in 2011, which is basically 2 short years from now, St. Mary's, St. Columba, St. Patrick, and St. Vincent's will be clustering. Definition of a cluster are 3 independent parishes here with a common pastoral leader. St. Christopher's will still be part of the planning group, but they won't be part of the cluster. Our plan, as it consists right now, envisions the rectory at St. Vincent's being occupied with the pastoral leader. St. Columba's, their office would be used as the central office for the cluster because it is centrally located.
And at St. Mary's, there will be staff on site. However, the rectory would remain empty.
One of our things in our plan is that each rectory will have a viable ministerial presence. Now, while there are some of the things that would go on here as an active parish, we were looking for something a bit more. And also, part of our plan is to come up with joint ministries, not only for the cluster, but for our planning group. And we sensed an opportunity here. So our committee came together, members from each parish. The committee has grown since it was initiated. We have at least 3 or 4 representatives, including the pastoral leaders from each parish. And in June of 2008, we started out with a question we asked ourselves. Do we have enough support from each parish to look into this possibility, come up with a joint ministry for Five Saints West? And back in June of last year, we had a survey that came out that said, do you feel this proposal to develop a comfort care home is worth exploring? The overwhelming answer was yes.
We had 645 responses.
We were about 80% yes, and about 15% said, well, maybe it's not such a good idea, but keep looking into it. And we had about 4% that were a definitive no. We sort of took that as a 4-to-1 ratio of people in favor of at least looking into the possibility as something to marching orders. We could continue to pursue the effort. We decided to embark on the exploration process, and we broke it up into 6 different pieces. We did some interviews with the executive director of Catholic Charities out near the Albany area, and we also did talk to the Catholic chaplain for Mount Carmel House here in the Rochester area. We did speak to the building inspector because that's, if we're going to do any renovations, that's kind of an important piece that might drive the scope of work and the cost. We also had several folks visit Teresa House, which is down in Geneseo. We had a few of our members of the committee go to workshops, one of which was given by a professor of geriatric medicine from Johns Hopkins. We have several volunteers for hospice on our committee who were able to lend their experience and information from the hospices that they serve at. We also did listen to some talks put on by the Director of Finance over at Mount Carmel House. We also did talk to an architect about what could be done with the place to get some idea of what the possibilities were. We also did, and we didn't mention this on the slides, have a lot of consultation with the Diocese of Rochester. Father Dan Condon, who's the Chancellor, Eric Patsky, who's the Director of Buildings and Grounds, and Ron Malia, who's the insurance specialist with the diocese, to get their input also. We thought that communication should be probably the first effort we should undertake, so we came up with a series of bulletin inserts asking questions and answering them that were published over 11 months, about one per month. We also put together an interactive website where you could, these answers that were in the bulletin and a lot of other information were available and questions could be asked. In the past year, we received about 36 visits a month, and in the past month, that has actually more than doubled. Obviously, there's a lot of interest out there in our parish communities. We also put some flyers in the backs of the churches relatively recently, a couple months ago, so that people would have a written format, they could see things and they could ask questions that way. Our purpose here today is to present our developing plan. Our plan is by no means final, but we understand that there's a lot more work to be done. And what we're really looking for is endorsement to go ahead with the effort. But we do really want a commitment to the plan. Now, we are actually asking pastoral councils and Five Saints West for formal endorsement of the plan. So today's real question for you folks is, what other information do you want us to find out so you can make an informed decision to endorse this project? And because we have a captive audience, we'll always be asking if anybody's got a skill they can volunteer to help us out with. From that survey that we took a year ago, it seemed like there were about 5 general categories of questions that were coming back from the parishioners about the facility, the professional knowledge and expertise we would need, the availability of volunteers, of course money, and what legal issues we might have. And our first